There are two very important and special dates in my life right now. And those days are May 22nd of 2017 and May 22nd of 2022. Now, in May 22nd of 2017, that was my last day drinking alcohol. I had drew a hard line in the sand, or actually in the cement, that said, I'm done. The full backstory on it was my wife and I went to a wedding on Saturday night. Both went, got drunk as normal, came home Saturday night, passed out, went to bed. That Sunday morning when we woke up, my son at that time was 3 months old. And my wife was taking my son and her two sisters to Disneyland with her. They left the house around 6 a.m. And waking up that Sunday morning, still buzzed, hungover, I knew my only way to feeling better was to keep drinking. So I started drinking that Sunday morning, the 21st, around 6:30 a.m. And I was drunk probably by 7. And that day I stayed inside. It was the first time that I hadn't had my kid with me, my wife with me, really the house to myself. So I figured it was my time to just relax, take the edge off. My wife ended up coming home later that evening, should I say, with my oldest son. And when she walked through the door, I noticed that he had a sunburn on his face. And I got frustrated. Just before going to bed, I ended up taking a half a bottle of plastic water and throwing it up against the wall. And it really scared her. It was the first time in all the years that we were together that I showed any aggression or anger. The next morning we woke up, my wife decided to take her sisters to the airport and drove my brand new car. While she's in my brand new car, she's in the fast lane in California on the 405, and the car completely comes to a stop. She calls me. She says, I need you to come and help me. When I answer the phone, I'm laying in bed, reeking of booze, hungover, pounding headache, and I'm right next to my 3-month-old son at that time. And I felt like a man with no arms and no legs, completely paralyzed. I could not do anything. I could not go help my wife. So while on the phone with her, she said to me the following. She said, between last night, which scared me, and between this morning, getting stuck on the freeway and not having my husband being able to come help me, I need you to make a change, Troy. And she said, I don't expect you or want you to pull the rehab card. She said, I know that when I met you, if you put your mind to something, you can absolutely do it. And she hung up the phone on me. And within that split second, I knew, man, I got to make a change. So I looked over at my son laying in bed, and I said to myself and to him, we both deserve better than this. I got up out of bed, I rinsed my face off, and I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, you know what? This might be the sign that I need from God to finally stop this destruction of drinking. And that day, after washing my face off, again, I had already made it up in my mind that I was done. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was 205 pounds, just bloated, overweight. I felt disgusting. And I can say from that day, there was something very unique about that day also. All the previous Sundays and days that I tried to stop drinking, I would always throw away the rest of the alcohol at night and promise myself tomorrow I'm not drinking again. But I would always literally leave the gym and go pick up a bottle and continue drinking. But that day in particular, May 21st, or May 22nd, should I say, I decided to keep all the alcohol inside the house. I did not throw anything out because I had it in my mind that I must become more powerful than the bottle. The bottle's not going to jump out of the cabinet and end up in my mouth. And from that day moving forward, I took it one day at a time. Sure, my brain was filled with thoughts like we have weddings coming up. I had a bachelor party coming up. What am I going to do since I'm not drinking? How am I going to have fun? How are my friends going to react when I tell them I'm not drinking? But I can tell you something very magical happened. the very first wedding that I went to, I had so much fun being present, not just with myself, but being present with my wife. And we danced that night, we sang that night, and we laughed that night like we had never laughed and danced and sang before. And that to me was the nudge that I needed to realize that this new path that I'm taking is okay. It might not be understood by a lot of people, but the most important person to me in my life was my wife at that time. It still is. And I needed to show her and prove to her that she's not going to lose out on any love, any fun, any laughter without me as her partner drinking. And that's what I did. So after a wedding came a bachelor party for another wedding. And I showed up at that bachelor party, filled up the fridge next to all the seltzer stuff with my LaCroix and my Pellegrino waters. And I ended up having so much fun at that bachelor party. And it was nice to see my friends sort of react and respond to me with a look of trust and a look of respect. I did not feel like an outcast. There was no silly remarks made about my choice in life. I actually had a lot of support from everybody around me. And if you're watching this video and you're stuck right now in your life and you're wondering, man, if I put the alcohol down, how will my wife respond? How will my parents respond? My brothers, my friends? And I'm here to tell you, that's none of our worry. We cannot control that, so we shouldn't worry about it. So getting past the thought of I'm being judged, I'm not going to have any more fun with my wife, I'm not going to be able to go out and have fun at functions like weddings and birthday parties and bachelor parties. It's all a lie. It's a big fat myth. And 8 years later, I can say that I've been to just about every single party and gathering that there is. And every single gathering that I've been to, I can say without any uncertainty that I've had more fun, I've connected with more people, I've been able to help more people, and most importantly, I have been able to leave those parties sober, drive my wife safely home, and come home to my home where my 3 kids are. And being able to walk through the door with no liquor on my breath, nothing clouding my judgment, is a feeling of control that as a man, I think we're all yearning for. And I can tell you that we get the control and we have control when we are 100% clear of any vices. Now, it's funny how that works. A lot of people like to be in control with how they're going to have fun, how they're going to do things. But one more tip, at some point, you got to just put it in the air for God. You got to say, God, this drinking or this using has become way too big for me. Please remove it from my shoulders. Please remove it from my life if it no longer serves any good. And do that and say that prayer every single day. And one magical thing will happen. You will slowly start to feel God's hands lifting off of your shoulders. You will see God putting you into positions, into places, and having doors open that would have never opened if you were drinking or using. So again, looking back on my entire journey and being 8 years sober today from alcohol, I can say without a doubt that it has been the best choice that I've ever made. And it's crazy to think about. It was just one choice on one day that got me 8 years and got me and gave me the life that I have today. I'm currently living in Texas with my wife and my 3 kids. I have moved away from California where I had this image of who I was, but that image was alcoholism, that image was prescription drugs, and that image was only chasing financial freedom and financial success. Today, I chase true internal happiness because I know that that's what's going to lead to true success in my life with whatever I do. So again, if you're watching this video, I appreciate you watching it. I have a detox program that I've written out that is very effective for men. It will walk you through from day one to call it day 30, 60, 90, 120 of where you want to go in your life, where you're at right now, and some of the changes that we can work on together and tweak that I promise you will give you a life that you really probably only have ever dreamt of. So if you're with me, drop me a comment below.